Okay, so today we're going to be learning about semicircles. So when we're talking about semicircles, just a couple of things that you should be considering. A semicircle is just half of a circle. So I could draw a half a circle in 4 different ways, assuming that it's parallel to one of the axes. So the first way, I could draw it like this, I could draw it like that, I could draw it like this, I could draw it like that. So if we think about the general equation for a circle, we can change it around to get the equation of a semicircle. So you won't be given the equation of a semicircle in your exams because there's 4 different variations and you need to know how to get to each one. So this is the equation of a circle. To rearrange it, if I want to make x the subject, then I take this bracket with the y over first. Then I'm going to take the square root. Every time I take the square root, there's a plus and a minus. And then I take h over next, so that I'm left with x equals. If you were going to do this for y equals, you would follow the same steps. It's just the bracket you'd take over here first would be the y. Okay, so next thing, that gets you the equation of a semicircle, but it doesn't tell you which one of these 4 it's going to be. Now, what we need to do is think about what we know about our axes. So if we're looking at the x-axis, if I go right in this direction, that's positive. If I go left, that's negative. So to end up with getting a full circle, the plus, the minus, they make a whole. If there's a plus separating the two of them, then it's starting in the middle and going towards the right. If I've got a minus in between them, then it's starting in the middle and going towards the left. Now, another thing you should notice is if I draw my axis, this is the x-axis, so this is the positive zone, this is the negative zone. If this is positive, then x appears over here in the positive direction for x. And if x is negative, it'll appear over here in the negative direction for x. Now, the same thing is true when we're looking at y. So if there's a plus in between them, it's going to appear in the direction where y is positive. And if it's negative, it's going to appear in the direction where y is negative. So that's how you tell which one of these things you want. Do you want it to be going in the x direction or the y direction? And do you want it to be going up or down or left or right? Okay, so when given a semicircle formula, it's the easiest way to do this because you're not given the formula for semicircles, is to rearrange it to a circle formula to find the center and the radius. So to do that, we'd just do the reverse. I'd take k back first. I would ignore this symbol in between them because that's going to give you a math error otherwise, but it doesn't really matter. So ignore that, take the squared over, then you'll take this part over, and then we're back to the equation of a circle. Now, once you've got that, it's really easy to see, okay, the center of this thing is at HK and the radius is this. Okay, so let's put this into practice and start doing an example. So let's say I ask you to sketch. Now, you should be copying this example too. Sketch the following semicircle. And we're going to use Desmos to check our answers today. We are also going to state the domain and range. Okay, so let's say this is our question. Y equals 3 minus square root of 9 minus x minus 2, x plus 2 squared. Okay, so first thing I'm going to identify is this, so I'm going to identify the shape. So shape. Because it's y, I know that it's going like this or like this. Because it's negative, I know it must be this one, it's going in the negative direction. So therefore, our shape is going to be going down like that. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is rearrange to find the general equation. I'm just going to put GE, general equation of a circle. Okay, so I'm going to state my equation again. Now, first thing I'm going to take over is going to be this 3 by subtracting 3. So now I've got y minus 3 is equal to, now remember we're going to ignore this part here. So I'm just going to chuck my square root symbol in, minus 9, x plus 2, bracket, bracket. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do, I'm running out of space, I'm going to take this across by squaring the other side. Now that's going to leave me with y minus 3 squared is equal to 9 minus x plus 2 squared. Next thing that gets moved across is this one. So that's coming across here. Because I'm moving the whole term, it's going to change from being negative to positive. So x plus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared is equal to, and now I'm going to convert this into my radius squared. So 3 squared, that way it matches our general form of the equation. So now I know that the centre of this thing is going to be at -2 and 3. And I also know that the radius is going to be at 3. Okay, so now we are ready to state our domain and range. So domain. Now, we've already interpreted that it's going to look like this, meaning that we're going to go from the centre, we're going to go left, and we're going to go right. So our domain for this, if our centre of the circle, the x coordinate is -2, -2, our radius is 3, so we're going to -3, and we're going to do -2 plus 3. That will make our domain -5 and 1. Now we're going to look at the range. So when we look at the range, this time we're starting at the centre and we're only going down. So the lowest part that this will reach is now 3, which is the y coordinate of the centre. So the lowest is going to be 3 minus 3. And the highest point that it's going to touch is just going to be the 3. I don't need to add the 3 on this time because we're not going up past the centre. So 0, y, all the way up to 3. So there's our domain and range. Now I'm ready to sketch. So remember, when we're sketching, we use our domain and range to help us figure out where this thing should be. So there's my y-axis. I'm going to very quickly chuck on 0. I'm going to chuck on 3. Next one, I'm going to look at this and I'm going to see that it goes between -5 and 1. So we'll go all the way over there, a little bit further over here. So there's 1, there's -5. Now I'm going to put on the halfway point between them, which is -2. Now I'm ready to label on my coordinates. So the centre of our circle is here, which means the furthest point is over here and the furthest left side is over here. The lowest it goes is down here. So now all I need to do is join these points, and look at my beautiful semicircle. Okay, and then that's it, you're done.